Once you land on the Small 99 website, you'll start to see something like this where it's got that big button that says Start Estimating. The first question we're going to ask you is around how many employees you have. So do try and include any freelancers or volunteers or anyone like that you've got working for you, because that is going to influence the total footprint, but also your intensity metrics later, which I'll explain shortly. So let's say we've got 5 employees and click confirm. You'll then see a series of questions, and there's around 20 or 30 different questions that will guide you through your business impacts and will change depending on how you answer the previous question. So for example, if we don't work from home, we might then be asked about our business premises and do we have a kind of an office unit or a light industrial unit that we're working out of. And then we'll be asked, how do people get to that unit? And that's going to start feeding into things like our employee emissions and our commuting emissions. So work through the survey and you'll get a series of questions around that. And then at the end, you'll be given a report that looks something like this. This is a test account we did earlier, where we can see immediately at the top we've got 2 figures. One, our total carbon footprint, but also that carbon intensity metric per employee. That's a really important figure to understand because it allows us to benchmark ourselves against other businesses like ours that might be a similar size and a similar location to yours. For example, on this one, it's come out that 3.27 tonnes is around 22% lower than our average estimate currently is. That gives us an idea of actually we're probably in quite a good position, and some of the answers we've given have indicated we're a relatively low carbon business and maybe performing slightly ahead of the trend here. There's a link here where you can share your results with other people, so if you do want to share this with the suppliers or use it for things like kind of any funding applications or anything that you're going for, you can start to share that and use that externally. But let's move down into the emissions categories, where we start to see those 5 or 6 different categories we mentioned earlier start to come together. So here we can see that actually supply chain is probably the biggest part of our footprint, and surprisingly, we've also then got transport and buildings and energy being quite considerable chunks as well, and waste perhaps something we need to be addressing as well, coming out around 20%. If we then click on the arrow just below, it expands out into the different scopes. So again, we do have that language there if we want to explore more information around different scopes. And we can see that a lot of our emissions are coming from that purchased goods and services, and again, waste being quite a big chunk here. And it might be that commuting is relatively small. So we start to see our scope 1, 2 and 3 break down based on our emissions. Going further down, you'll also see some recommended actions for you to take further, and we can see things like smart plugs, solar panels, and reducing energy consumption all in here based on the answers you've given to give you some ideas that might be applicable to you or might not on things that you can take next. Hopefully that gives you a very quick summary of where you can get started and gives you a rough idea of your footprint before you move on to other methods such as spend-based or activity-based measurement where it's much more accurate. That brings us to the end of this course, and please do go and scan your QR code where you can get That brings us to the end of this section, so please do scan this QR code with your phone where you can go and claim your badge for watching to the end and watching this far and putting up with me for all this time, as well as for calculating your footprint. So there's a free badge at the end of it. Please do go and claim that. Thank you.